Hi everyone, this is Corey back with another webinar. We're going to be working on grammar today. I know that's a scary subject for a lot of people, but I think we're going to have a good time working on it. I really like to read and I really like to write, and I really like to share the information with everybody that grammar is a lot less scary and a lot less difficult than a lot of people think it is. And we're going to go over some of the reasons for that today. Let's see, we have some attendees showing up here. Hi, Anika. Hi, Annadelle. We have Ariana, Beckham, Bella, Charlene, Holly, Isha, Jack, Jacob, Jelani, Jessica, Kaden, Krish, Nora's here, Nya, Ranbir, Shristi, Time, and Xavier so far. Laurel, Kaden, more people are popping in all the time. So hi, guys. Welcome. Thanks for being here today. As always, we're going to read some things together. We're going to do some activities where we work on like nouns and pronouns in English sentences. When I ask you to do an activity, put your answer into the Q&A box. That's down at the bottom of your screen, and it works better than, there's a couple other options where you can type things in, but keep everything to the Q&A box. That's the best way for me to see it on my screen. So, hi to everyone that's saying hi in the Q&A box. Glad you guys are here today. So, all right, let's start with the first thing that I want to go over with everybody is what grammar is. So let's read about that. All right, so one second here. I'm going to be bringing up the workbook. This all comes from a book called Working with Grammar. You can find that on the Heron Books website. And the first part of it here is called Nouns and Pronouns. Okay, so in Nouns and Pronouns, the first chapter is grammar. Many people, young and old, have the idea that grammar is hard or that it's a subject they don't like. If you are one of those people, here's something to think about. Maybe the reason it didn't go well has nothing to do with you. Maybe the problem was with the book or class or teacher. You don't have to like grammar as your favorite subject, but it isn't actually hard. Grammar is just how words are put together so that they make sense. That's all. Again, grammar is simply how words are put together so that they make sense. Most of learning grammar just comes from listening to people who speak it correctly and reading books that are well written. If you read and listen to people who use English well, you will learn what sounds right. You will also end up speaking and writing with good grammar. So, you've already started your first grammar lesson. Try to speak a lot with people who use English well and read lots of well-written books. And by doing a lot of reading aloud, you will hear how words go together to make interesting and effective communication. Plus, reading aloud can be a lot of fun. And that brings us to the second lesson about grammar. The goal of learning anything about grammar is not to have perfect grammar. The goal is communication. It's important to keep this in mind. When you are learning more information about how words are best put together in English, you're doing it so that you can read, so you can speak, read, and write better. Or so you can better understand what someone else is trying to say or write. Grammar is for helping communication and understanding. If it's not helping communication and understanding, it's a waste of time. If you don't like grammar or got the idea that it's hard, somebody was probably making it harder than it is, or they just weren't teaching well. Grammar is simply how words are put together to make sense. Conclusion. The best way to master grammar is by reading lots of well-written books and doing a lot of reading aloud. The goal of learning about grammar is not to have perfect grammar. The goal is communication and understanding. So this is something that I talk to my students about a lot, which is that you already know a lot of grammar really well. You usually know when something doesn't sound right if you hear it out loud. For example, if I said, hey, give that book to I, you already know that that's not right, that I shouldn't be saying give it to I, that I should be saying give it to me. But do you know the grammar reason why? Well, we'll be going over that specific point in the future. but you already know the grammar fact there, which is that that's not the right word to use. You just might not know the grammar rule for it. So by studying grammar, you kind of find out the rules of why we speak the way we do, what the rules are for how we're supposed to write, and the more control you have over that, and the more you understand, the more you're able to speak and write with good communication and with purpose. So the first subject within grammar that we're going to go over today is nouns. And nouns are one of the simplest parts of grammar. We're going to jump over a little bit of stuff today that we're not going to get into in the book. And we're going to start right with the noun section. Some of you at home may remember what a noun is. If so, just bear with us as we go through it. So, nouns. As you know, nouns are words that name a person, place, thing, or idea. There are two main categories of nouns. Common nouns. First, there are common nouns, which name a general type of thing. Here are some common nouns: woman, man, holiday, state, country, freedom. They are only capitalized when they are the first word in a sentence. Most nouns have two spellings depending on whether they are singular or plural. Singular, of course, means when you just have one of something, and plural is when you have more than one of something. Usually an S is added to make a plural noun. For example, girl becomes girls, and table becomes tables. Some plural nouns change in different ways. For example, mouse becomes mice, and child becomes children. If the plural spelling of a noun is different from adding an S, most dictionaries will show it after the entry word. Proper nouns. The second category of noun is the proper noun, which names a particular person, place, or thing. And when they say particular, they mean one certain person, place, or thing. Here are examples of proper nouns: Mary Jones, Robert Bailey, New Year, Oregon, France, Kleenex, the Statue of Liberty. Proper nouns are capitalized. All right, so nouns. This is usually the part of speech that if you don't know anything else, most people remember what a noun is. And most people know that they are people, places, or things, but they can also be ideas. And as it also said in there, when it talks about things or ideas, it's not just always things that you can hold. For example, when it says things or ideas, like you could say love is a noun, or happiness is a noun. That's the type of thing that it can be in addition to a thing like a block or a pen or a computer. Okay, so the first activity that we're going to do together is that I want everyone at home to make up a sentence with two or more common nouns and write it in the Q&A box. So again, these are going to be common nouns. They're just regular, old people, place, things, or ideas, not specific people. So a good example would be the girl kicked the soccer ball. Girl and soccer ball would both be common nouns. So go ahead and write your sentences with two or more common nouns in the Q&A box. And I will read some of those as they pop up. As some of those answers come in, Ariana asks, aren't you a math teacher? I think I saw you last week teaching math. Yes. At the middle school level, we teach several different subjects throughout the day. I teach math and I also teach grammar and a few other things. So yeah. All right, so Jacob says, the boy went to the store to get some food. So awesome. The common nouns in there would be boy, store, and food. Good job. Fallon says, the cat ran up the tree. Very good job. We have cat and tree as common nouns. Laurel says, the boy ate the pie. So we have boy and pie. Good job. Alaya says, the dog is under the table. So dog and table. All right, you guys have a ton of really great examples in here. I think there's so many people writing answers that I'm not going to be able to read every sentence today, but I am reading them all. So thank you guys for your answers in here. Charlene says, I picked up a book. So book would be the common noun there. Good job. All right. Thank you guys for your answers. The next activity there is that we are going to write some sentences with proper nouns. So go ahead and write a sentence that has 2 or more proper nouns. And if you want to, you could even, you could write after the sentence, write the sentence out, and then specify or state, like type it afterward, what the proper noun specifically is. So a sentence with 2 or more proper nouns. If I was making one, that would be like, Abraham Lincoln walked to the Capitol building. So Abraham Lincoln would be a proper noun, and the Capitol building would be a proper noun because it states a specific person and a specific building that there's only one of. And I will read some of them as they come in. So Annika says, New York is my favorite place. Good job. New York is a proper noun. Jelani says, Mary Bess gave her cat Maya some food. And the proper nouns are Mary Bess and Maya. Good job. Jacob says, Bob went to Greenville Park to ride his new skateboard. And he has Bob and Greenville Park both capitalized. So great. Bella says, Isabella went to Atlanta, Georgia. So good job. Isabella and Atlanta, Georgia would both be proper nouns. Nora says, Mary went to the Louvre. So that's a museum in Paris, France. So Mary and the Louvre would both be proper nouns. Very good job. Caden says, Cody and Elijah went to Sam's house. So Cody, Elijah, and Sam are all capitalized because they're all the names of specific people. Very good job. Milo says, Paris is in France, and both Paris and France are capitalized. So great job. Jessica says, Nya went to Florida, and both the name and Florida are capitalized. So very good job. Again, you guys are doing amazing. You already have a huge number of sentences in here that I can't read all of these or we wouldn't get any, we wouldn't get through very much by the time the webinar was over. So very well done. You guys are doing great. All right, our next section here. Pronouns. Another part of speech is the pronoun. It is a word that takes the place of a noun. We use pronouns so we don't need to repeat the names of things over and over. Compare the examples below where the pronouns he, her, and it are used. Here they are with nouns. Mrs. Jones threw the ball to the dog, and the dog caught the ball. Without nouns, we could say, Mrs. Jones threw the ball to the dog, and he caught it. Kind of saves us a little bit of time. We don't have to say the nouns over and over again because we can put he and it in the place of the dog and the ball. Here's the next example. Where is Mary's flower? The man gave the flower to Mary. And here it is without nouns, using pronouns instead. Where is Mary's flower? The man gave it to her. When you're using pronouns, you will make your sentences clear if you use a singular pronoun when the noun it replaces is singular. Similarly, a pronoun would be plural if the noun it replaces is plural. Here's an unclear sentence. My mother knows how to sew well, but they didn't make my prom dress. So they is plural. It refers to more than one person. But the first part of the sentence, it says, my mother knows how to sew well. So it's kind of confusing right away. Who's they? Who does that refer to? Here's a more understandable example. My mother knows how to sew well, but she didn't make my prom dress. So there we immediately know that she refers back to my mother because there's only one mother in that sentence. So she is singular. It means one person. Here's another unclear example. When I finished reading the letter, I threw them away. So that's confusing because them refers to more than one thing, but the letter is only one thing. Here's the clear example. When I finished reading the letter, I threw it away. And here's a few more unclear examples and the clear example right after it. Anya saw the shoes in the store and decided to try it on. Anya saw the shoes in the store and decided to try them on. Tom and John went to the game together and he enjoyed it. Tom and John went to the game together and they enjoyed it. So that's one of the things you can see right away when there's like a confusing sentence that uses nouns and pronouns. Sometimes the pronoun that you've chosen doesn't match the noun. If there's only one thing with the noun you've chosen, the pronoun needs to refer to just one thing too. So there are 6 types of pronouns. We'll talk about them in the next sections. The first type of pronoun is the one you've probably seen the most times in your life. It's called the personal pronoun. Personal pronouns are used instead of the name of a person or a thing. They are I, me, you, he, him, she, her, it, we, us, they, and them. Here are some examples. I went to see him. What will you give him for his birthday? Will you come with us to the concert? We aren't going to the party, but they are. So each one of those personal pronouns, I, him, you, us, we, they, each place that pronoun is standing in place of a noun that could have gone there, but maybe it's faster and easier to use one of these pronouns instead of a noun. The next type is called a possessive pronoun. And possess means that you have something. Like you could say, I possess a computer. It means it belongs to you or you just have it right now. So a possessive pronoun, possessive pronouns are a type of pronoun that shows ownership. These are also personal pronouns because they're dealing with, people and things. The possessive pronouns are mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs. So this can get a little bit trickier, but a possessive pronoun, again, has to take the place of a noun. Here are some examples. That computer is mine, and mine is the possessive pronoun there. You could say like, that computer is a Dell computer, or that computer is an Apple computer. But instead, the word mine is taking the place of the computer and saying that it belongs to you. Here's another example. Please take yours. Yours stands in place of a noun, again, the computer. Are those students' computers charged? Theirs are charged. And those jerseys are ours. Okay. So we're now going to do a couple activities that go over this stuff. The first activity here, I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a little bit, and we're going to go back to common and proper nouns really quick. And I want you to look at this first sentence here. Some boys want to be firefighters when they grow up. And I want you to try to spot what the common and what the proper nouns are in that sentence. In the Q&A box, you could just put common and then write what the common noun is. And then if there's a proper noun, you could just write proper and then what the proper noun is. So I'll give you a clue. In sentence A, some boys want to be firefighters when they grow up. There's only one of the two types of nouns. So go ahead and in the Q&A box, write your answer of, just in sentence A to start, what are the common or proper nouns in that sentence? Some boys want to be firefighters when they grow up. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to bring up the Q&A box and see what people wrote. All right, so Fallon said the common nouns are boys and firefighters. Good job. Jacob said boys and firefighters are both nouns, common nouns. Good job. A few different commenters say, it looks like most everyone is getting boys as a common noun. Looks like a few people left off firefighters. So that is the second common noun in that sentence. One commenter here has firefighter marked as a proper noun. So let's talk about that for a second. The difference again between a common noun and a proper noun is that a common noun could refer to a lot of different boys or firefighters, for example. Now, firefighter is the name of one certain job, but there's still a lot of people that are firefighters. What makes it a proper noun would be if we were referring to one specific firefighter. So if I said, Captain Mary Richardson is the chief of the local fire department. Well, Captain Mary Richardson would be the proper noun. If I'm just saying a fire captain lives down that street, then that's a common noun, because across the whole world, there's a lot of firefighters or a lot of fire captains. So we aren't doing a proper noun until we're talking about just one of them. I hope that helps. All right, so a lot more commenters here are saying boys and firefighters are both common nouns. One commenter here says they have they marked as a common noun. Now, I could see how we could come to that answer because they obviously does sound like it's referring to a person, place, or thing. But the difference here is that a noun has to be the name of, like, you know, like firefighter, it's talking about a type of job, so it's a noun, but they is a pronoun. It's one of that list of words that takes the place of a noun. So if I said, all of the firefighters are going to the store right now, they will be there soon. They is one of those words that takes the place of firefighters. So firefighters is a common noun. They is the pronoun that takes the place of it. All right, a lot more people here have, Laurel has boys and firefighters, good job. Nora has firefighters and boys marked, good job. Oliver has boys and firefighters marked, very well done. All right, very good job. Let's move on to another sentence that maybe has both types in it. All right, let's go down to sentence E right here. Here we go. 10 years later, he was a firefighter in Salem, Oregon, and found all the courage he needed to go into a burning house and rescue 2 people. So that one has several nouns in it. There's more than just 2. 10 years later, he was a firefighter in Salem, Oregon, and found all the courage he needed to go into a burning house and rescue 2 people. So I'm going to leave the sentence up on the screen for a minute so you can open up that Q&A box and make a list of what are all the common nouns and what are the proper nouns. And there are more than one of both. There's more than one common noun and there's more than one proper noun. So take a minute and make a list of both of those. All right, so it looks like a lot of answers are coming in here. Let's read what some of them say. All right, so Fallon says, common nouns include years, firefighter, courage, house, and people. And the proper nouns are Salem and Oregon. Good job. All of those are correct. All right. Bella has years, firefighter, and house marked as common nouns. Good job. Salem and Oregon are marked as proper nouns. Good job. Nora has firefighter, years, courage, house, and people marked as common. Proper, she has Salem and Oregon marked. Good job. Good. You guys are having a lot of great answers here. Time went ahead and marked he as a pronoun. Very good job. Let's see. You guys are doing great on this one. Not every person has every single noun marked, but most of the answers, you guys are putting these all in the right column. So very good job. I do see one person here has he marked as a common noun. So again, very easy to see how we could come to that conclusion because he is referring to a person. But again, words like firefighter they're talking about types of people or things, so they're nouns, but he is part of that list of pronouns. It's one of that list of words like he, she, it, they, that can take the place of a noun. It jumps in there so that you don't have to say the nouns over and over again. We can make a really kind of silly paragraph to demonstrate why this is important. Let's say I said, I'm going to talk to my brother John. My brother John lives in California. My brother John is an airline pilot. When I talk to my brother John, he always tells me about baseball. So it kind of sounds a bit repetitive to have to say my brother John over and over again. It kind of makes you feel like, can you get on with it already? We already know you're talking about your brother John. So pronouns, they're the words that are kind of invented to speed up communication. Again, remember, grammar is there to help communication. So no one wants to sit around and have paragraphs of talking or writing like this take way longer than they need to be. So you could have a paragraph where instead you say something like, my brother John lives in California. He is an airline pilot. Whenever he calls me, he likes to talk about baseball. So the word he as a pronoun taking the place of a noun speeds everything up because you know from the first sentence what noun I'm talking about. The pronoun he doesn't, it just helps us go faster. All right. Milo has great answers here. Good job. Caden has great answers. Jonathan, Shristi, Brianna, good answers, everybody. A lot of people put down everything in the right column, so good job. All right. And if anybody has questions on any of this, if you'd like further explanation or more examples of anything we're talking about, just go ahead and put that in the Q&A box too. And I will help give you more explanation. All right, let's move on to the next activity. We don't have time to do every single exercise in this course. If you'd like to go to heronbooks.com and get this course, there's lots more practice examples, but we're just going to be going past some of them. We can look at them quickly as we go by. This one, for example, write 5 or more sentences using common and proper nouns. Underline the common nouns once and the proper nouns twice. So Hannah, double underline, 'cause it's proper, had the courage, single underline, to work as a nurse, single underline, because those are both common, in Haiti, proper noun, after the earthquake, common noun. All right, let's go on. All right. So we're going to look at some sentences here, and we're going to use some personal and possessive pronouns to rewrite the sentences. So remember, a personal pronoun comes from that list where the pronouns are replacing people or things. The personal pronouns are I, me, you, he, him, she, her, it, we, us, they, or them. And the possessive pronouns are a type of personal pronoun that shows ownership. Mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs. Actually, before we do this activity, there's one point that I want to make very clear before we go on, and that's that those possessive pronouns can often get confused with another type of word that we don't have time to cover today, but we'll be covering another time. And I'm actually going to write up on the board to give you guys some examples of this, okay? So let's say I was talking about a cat, and I said, our cat is orange. And that's a true story. I do have an orange cat. Her name is Libby. So our cat is orange. We have a noun right here. Cat is a common noun. So I'm going to mark that as a noun. This word our over here, though. We saw the word ours in that list of possessive pronouns. But this right here is not actually a pronoun. I'm going to write another sentence and we're going to compare the two. Ours is orange. Okay, so in the first sentence, our is actually a word that is describing or telling us more about the noun cat. When it says our cat is orange, what is this word right here doing? It's telling you that our cat, this cat, belongs to me and somebody else. In this case, my family. I'm saying our cat is orange. So this is a describing word. It describes or tells you more about cat. But let's say I already was talking about our cat earlier, and now I want to use a pronoun because, again, I want to speed up the communication. Maybe you already know that I'm talking about a cat, and somebody says, oh, our cat is black. And I say, oh, ours is orange. Well, here, ours is now a pronoun. And I'm going to write pronoun there above that. Because you'll notice there is no noun in the sentence. It says ours is orange. Ours at this point is the only thing that the sentence is talking about. It doesn't say cat anymore. So again, our cat is orange. If you see a word like our or my or theirs, like it could say, my cat is orange or their cat is orange. that word, if it's going right before a noun, that's a describing word. It's just telling you who that cat belongs to. But it's not a pronoun until it's taking the place. Instead of our cat is orange, it now says ours is orange. Well, that's a pronoun. It could also say mine is orange, or theirs is orange. So when you're looking for these possessive pronouns, don't get them confused with these describing words. It's something really important to know in grammar is that you can't just have a list of words and say our is always going to be one type of grammar word. What you actually usually have to do is look for what is that word doing in that sentence right now. In this first example, right now, our is a describing word, but later, ours is now standing for a cat. At this point, it's a pronoun because it's taking the place of a noun. So when we look at these example sentences, don't get tricked, don't get confused. You'll have to know, is it describing or is it taking the place of a noun? So let's look at some examples from the workbook together. All right. So going over here to the workbook. Mary and I were amazed to see how well Sadie, the new girl, played tennis. So how could we rewrite that sentence to, instead of saying Mary and I, what pronoun could we put there? How could we put a different word in place there? If anyone needs to see that list of personal pronouns again, we can bring it up again. But this one is pretty straightforward. I think you'll be able to guess what personal pronoun can go there. Mary and I were amazed to see how well Sadie, the new girl, played tennis. What pronoun could go there instead? All right. Everyone in here saying we. Shristi said we. Isha said we. Fallon said we. Good job. Laurel said we. Yeah, it looks like everyone guessed pretty quickly that we was the right pronoun there. Looks like back on our example of the cat we were talking about here, a few people are asking what type of grammar word our would be there. We'll talk about this more in a later seminar, but yeah, the type of, when it says our cat is orange, this would be, there's more than one way, there's more than one word for it, but we could call that a modifier or an adjective. An adjective is a type of modifier. It's a modifier because it's modifying or telling more about cat, but there's different kinds of modifiers. So the specific type of modifier that this is, yes, that's called an adjective. But we'll be taking up adjectives more next week. So yeah, I hope that helps the person who asked about modifiers. And Jacob asked, what would the our and our cat is orange be? An adjective? Yes, an adjective. You were right about that. All right, so back to this example. Lots of people all guessed we. So very good job, guys. Guys and gals. All right, the next one is going to have 3 underlined parts for you to replace. So again, in each one, you're going to rewrite the sentence by replacing each group of underlined words with a personal or possessive pronoun. And I'll leave this up on the screen for a minute so you have time to type it all into the Q&A box. Okay. This girl had been playing tennis since this girl was 5 years old, and this girl had had excellent coaches. That sounds really repetitive, doesn't it? It sounds really weird. Again, that's kind of the example where you already know a lot of grammar stuff just from, you're like, huh, that sounds weird, or that doesn't sound right. It's because you've been hearing pretty good grammar your entire life. So you know there's a better way to write this with pronouns. So again, the sentence is, This girl had been playing tennis since this girl was 5 years old, and this girl had had excellent coaches. So each place that it says this girl, let's replace that with a pronoun. What could we put there instead? Go ahead and put that in the Q&A box. All right, so I can see there's already a lot of answers coming in. All right, so Fallon says, she had been playing tennis since she was 5 years old, and she had had excellent coaches. Good job. Yep, it was she in each of those places. Isha and Milo both say she. Good job. Nora wrote out the whole sentence. She had been playing tennis since she was 5 years old, and she had had excellent coaches. Very good job. Jacob has it too. Good job. Caden simplified things. They said she for all of them. Good job. All right. Laurel has it too. And Charlene. Good. Allie says, this girl had been playing tennis since she was 5 years old. So yeah, I could see how we could put that there. If you were just deciding to rewrite the sentence on your own, that would be a totally great way of rewriting it. But in that case, if you still have the word girl there and you put something in front of it, that word that you put in front of girl becomes a modifier. So it's telling you something about girl, or it's changing it. If you say that girl or this girl, the word that or this becomes a modifier. So in this case, we wanted to replace it overall. So we get to say she instead of saying anything girl. All right. So good job, everybody. Let's do another example. All right, this one's gonna be a little bit trickier because it's gonna have a possessive pronoun in it. First prize in every tournament had been belonged to this girl since this girl had been 12 years old. First prize in every tournament had been belonged to this girl since this girl had been 12 years old. So right here, had been belonged to this girl. We're gonna put a pronoun there. One word is gonna replace those 4 words to make our sentence a little bit faster and a little bit simpler. What personal pronoun what pronoun could go right there? And what pronoun could go in place of this girl again? You can go ahead and you could write the whole sentence in the Q&A box if you wanted to, or you could just write the 2 pronouns, just like separate them with a comma or something. I'm already seeing a lot of answers popping in there. Good job. So what pronoun could go in place of this underlined part? Let's see what everybody said. All right, so one attendee said her and she. I think that's pretty close. Let's read it out loud and see how it sounds with just her. First prize in every tournament had been her since she had been 12 years old. I think she sounds good, but her, I think it needs a little bit more to it. Let's see what some others might have answered. So Time says hers. Good job. Yeah, that sounds better. Hers, it's just the complete way of writing that possessive pronoun. Let's hear the whole sentence together. Fallon wrote, first prize in every tournament had been hers since she had been 12 years old. Good job. I see some more people saying her and she. That's pretty close. But again, hers is just the way that that possessive pronoun is written. We have some more attendees here saying first prize in every tournament had been hers since she was 12 years old. Good job. That's right. Another attendee here decided to write more sentences around it. So awesome. Thank you for that. All right. So very good job on that. So that was just 2 types of pronouns that we had time to talk about today. There's a few more. We might take up more types of pronouns in the future if that's interesting to you guys and helpful. I'd say these are the personal pronoun and the possessive are the 2 simplest types. The other 4 types get a little bit trickier. Feel free to email us if that's something that would be interesting to you. If you want to know about the more complicated, difficult to use pronouns, we'd be happy to teach you about it. So thank you guys for attending today. We're doing another one tomorrow where we're going to start talking about verbs. So if you've ever had trouble with verbs and you'd like to go over it, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.